It's in our mission, I think, to support students with their writing skills, and that is both creative skills but also expository skills. And I think that the expository can lead to the creative because it develops stronger writing overall, and students feel more confident in their abilities to put their thoughts through the written word on paper. So giving the students an opportunity to just develop that fluidity with their writing and to develop that confidence of I can have a thought and put it on paper and I don't have to worry about whether or not I'm getting rated on it, just getting them to start loving the written word. So I think a lot of that will continue. I think also a lot more projects that are very directly connected to what's happening in current events and what's happening in the news and how that's impacting students and their sort of processing of it. We've seen that that has really been something that students respond to quite strongly, and it's something that they're interested in writing about. I'm a former classroom teacher in DC, and I think teachers are misunderstood and undervalued, and so I think for me it's really important to make sure that what the teacher is interested in is taken seriously and is given credence and credibility, because they are the ones who do work with those students every single day. They know those students best, they know those students' families, they know what the students may be going through and what they might be dealing with, and so that is going to be the best advocate that we have in the classroom on our work to support the students and their teachers with the work that they're doing.
Some teachers have been working with 826 for a number of years, and so that relationship continues, and they might actually extend it and say, I have a colleague that wants to come, and that's how we're able to get more and more teachers coming to our field trips and things like that. And so I think the biggest challenge for me has been keeping track of where people go, because from year to year things happen and you might be at a different school. And I guess the other challenge has been, depending on what school you're at, if you're not metro accessible, you might not be able to come out here, because you might have to figure out, okay, how do I get my students, let's say you have 30 kids and the parents work during the day, how do you get them to a place that's on the other side of town? And you can't just take one person with 30 kids, you need chaperones. One thing I've been thinking about doing for schools that are in Southeast DC is bringing the field trip to them and having it in their classrooms. They wouldn't have the exact experience because they wouldn't be here, but they would still get the content, and I would just bring the books back or have them mailed to them. That's one idea, because I know that's been one of the biggest challenges, is just getting programs to students who are not necessarily right next to a metro station or in the city. But I think they deserve it just as much as anyone else. It's just, how do you bring the program to them or make it more accessible? And I think ideally in the future it would be nice for us to have some kind of transportation and be able to provide that for schools that really don't have it. Maybe find a way to meet them halfway or do something so that that doesn't prevent them from coming to this space. I think it's a cool space, but not everybody can get here.
A lot of the families that have been coming here I've known since day one of me starting, and so I feel as though they're a part of our larger family here. And maintaining that communication, talking every day with a family member and saying, your student did these 3 great things today, or your student is struggling in this way, can we all sit and talk about it? It's very much my intention and my belief that a student has to recognize that we are here to serve them just as much as we are here to meet their family's needs. And so I involve them in, what do you want to do every day? What do you need for this space to be a place where you want to come? And so now the students listen to music during after-school tutoring, and they have a youth leadership crew where certain students help make decisions, but they get other students' input on making those decisions. It's very much their space too, and I think family members really appreciate seeing that as well.
One thing that we take really seriously, especially this year and moving forward, is the idea that we want to be resource sharing with other nonprofits in the city. We want to be partnering up. We have a community partner program that we started this year that is already thriving, and I think that's a primary challenge moving forward, not only in addition to our ongoing efforts to fundraise and to raise our profile, which are important, but also to be seen as a player in DC that is willing to share. Rising tide lifts all boats, and in doing so uplift the students in Washington, DC.
One thing I've been thinking about doing for schools that are in Southeast DC is they wouldn't have the exact experience having it in their classrooms, but because I know that's been one of the biggest challenges is just getting programs to students who are not. That's one idea right next to the metro station or in the city, but I think they deserve it just as much as anyone else. It's just how do you bring the program to them or make it more accessible? And I think ideally in the future it would be nice for us to have some kind of transportation and be able to provide that for schools that really don't have it. Maybe find a way to meet them halfway or do something so that like that doesn't prevent them from coming to this space. I think it's a cool space, but not everybody can get here, and because of that there's certain schools who have not been able to come in the past for that reason.
What days do you do field trips?
We do them right now Wednesday through Friday, but starting in January we're going to offer them on Mondays as well, so they'll be 4 days a week.
Yeah. How many field trips a day? Like how many field trips within that day? Just one? Or?
We'll only do one. There have been times when we have done like 2 in a day because a school might have 2 separate classes and